All the ZX10 Masters Cup action is proudly brought to you by Sunbet, Red Square, NGK Spark Plugs, Bridgestone Tires, and Kawasaki Motorcycles. Welcome to Kyalami for round 7 action now from the Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup. All part and parcel of the Festival of Motoring here at Kyalami, and great to have two-wheeled action out on track. And you don't get much better than the premier racing category in the country right now, ZX10 Masters Cup. We've got Sunbet on board, we've got Red Square as always reloading all our riders. Bridgestone Tires are there and Kawasaki are backing the series now, which is fantastic to see. And NGK are sparking this series. And the reason for it is we've got a massive amount of riders, over 40 riders coming out here this weekend to be part and parcel of the Festival of Motoring. And that's the reason why. Look at that. Nearly 60,000 people through the gate over the weekend. We had round 6 on Friday and it's now time for action from round 7. They're waiting with bated breath on the sidelines. You can see them all itching to see those motorcycles get out onto the black stuff here at Kyalami. And just before we go racing, quick little prayer there from Ronald. And let's catch up with a couple of our riders before they go racing here today.
Hi, my name's Ian Howard.
Ian, do you have enough fingers to go around Kyalami?
I'm trying to figure that out. I'm betting to count the laps. I think I have 9 of them and we have 10 laps to do, so I'm going to bet a bit, but we're going to try.
Hi, it's September. I am 63. It's good to be at Kyalami. I am home here. Can't wait to race.
And Kyalami is home. It means home in Zulu as well. So fantastic to see the I am 63 man there, September. Looking forward to an awesome battle. I tell you something, there's going to be some big battles out on track in round number 7. After what we saw on Friday, they're all itching to go and ready to get back out onto the black stuff. More action here in the Red Square and Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup. Great to have Landy Sinnen back on the motorcycle. She'll be looking forward to running in that mid-pack. Going to be a little bit rusty, but certainly up for the challenge. Red Square always in the house. Thanks Mark and Tracy for reloading all our riders as we get ready to go now for the first heat of racing here today on Sunday. Riders making their way out onto the grid now, and it is going to be Trevor Westman who sets the pace for round 7's first race. Ronald Slamet and Graham Van Bredal make up that front row. Entekot, Bontekoning and McMahon are there on the second row ahead of Jason Lamb and Clint Munton. Get that a bit further back. Landy Sinden, Henk Kruger and Byron Rothkool alongside each other. Lubabala and Sana is in there as well. And Howard having a bit of a tough time out there, down in 22nd, just ahead of Travis Nordia, who's also battling with conditions here at Kyalami. Making his way up onto the second row, there is Han McMahon. Slacky will be looking to try and get that outside line. It's not a bad position to be in here. It's a clear line and a very clean line as well, as he makes his way up there, right behind Graham Van Bredal, championship leader now, heading into this round. Join us off the break for more action here from the Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup at Kyalami. Looking straight back into the face there of Hein McMahon from Graham Van Bredal, Stefanuti Stocks and Motul-sponsored Kawasaki. He's on the front row. He's got a lot of work to do. He's got Ronald Slamet and Trevor Westman alongside him. Westman was quickest, so he's looking forward to possibly making that into a victory here today. And the crowds are standing by as the 30-second board goes away. We stand by for those lights to come on and off for race number 1 here on round 7 of Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup. Great start, and over 35 riders making their way down towards turn 1. We're on board with Landy Sinden, getting eaten up a little bit there by a couple of riders, but starting to come back under acceleration. That is a superb bit of effort there from the young lady rider as they come down onto the brakes. Look at them fanning out. What is that, 10 bikes side by side into turn 1 here at Growthorne. Can you imagine what it would be like if we got MotoGP or World Supers here? This is just as good as the action we get out of that, though. There's no doubt about it here from the ZX10 Masters Cup. And they fly through barbecue up towards Yixkay. Landy Sinnen in that mid-pack has made up a huge amount of ground. She's tucked in just behind the battlefield, about 10th and 11th place there with Wayne Shelley, DeFoss and Teddy Brook. They'll be looking to try and fire things a little bit higher up. Remember, they'll be fighting with Brian Bontekoning, who's a little bit further up the road than what they are, and looking for the Grand Masters side of things here today. Fantastic start there from Munton. He's all over the back looking for a way through there. I think he's actually got through on Shelley. And then we see a bit further back from that. Great action as always. McLaughlin in the mix there. Byron Rothkool just behind that as they come through. And I also thought I might have picked up on the 69 there. Yes, Henk Scaling going into the S's. We're on board now with the Mad Max Motorcycles Kawasaki here of Rob Craig from Cape Town as he heads up to the top of the hill for the first time into Leeuwkop. And this is a tough little corner. You come basically unsighted onto the braking marker just over the rise and then pitch it into that triple left. It's a very tricky corner to get right. But if you get it right, you get the drive down the mine shaft and into the sweep. And there you go, all those ZX10s. Graham Van Bredal has hit the front and is opening up a commanding lead. Entekot is in second place. guys. Not quite sure what went wrong there on the start for Westman. He dropped right back. There's Wayne Shelley starting to make his way up into that pack as well. Tucked in behind the Silver Surfer there, Teddy Brook, as they come through Crocodiles and in towards Cheetah and Ingwe. Nice run there from Clint Munton. As I said, look where Westman is. Westman is actually behind Clint Munton there. So it didn't go according to plan off the start there for Trevor Westman. He must have bogged down. Remember, he's on that brand new ZX10. So still getting to grips with the slight change in machinery. Look on the sideline. The crowds are loving every bit of action they're seeing here from the ZX10R Masters pack. And there's a pack of riders and there's fights all the way through those packs. Entercott in second. It's Bontakuning who's in third place there. And dropping down to fourth on his tail is Ronald Slamet. So the Valley Mart bike didn't quite get the start he wanted either. Both the Cape Town boys battled off the line. There was no holding back though from Van Brada's point of view as we go on board with him, heading up through Yuxka and onto the short straight on the old back straightaway here. Heading towards Sunset Corner, and he's putting a big margin over Dave Entercott. Entercott hanging on for second place at the moment, but he's watching in the background because he's got two very fast riders starting to close him down. One is the Jag Power Products bike there of Bontakuning. Around the outside, the wayward Kawasaki starting to make his way back up to the front there. That was Westman. In the mid-pack, though, that's Keith Agliotti fighting there with Peter DeVos. Great little battle there as well with Apana Ganapathi. Ganapathi into the back end of that little field, and there's Hein McMahon trying to look up the inside of his good friend there, Agliotti. Nice little maneuver there from McMahon. He's got to try and make up some ground too. He's dropped off where he was on the second row. He's in sixth place. He's down in about eighth at the moment. Safisa Timber, he's got huge trouble over the back of them. Langeveld looking for a way through. Travis Nordia was having a look as well. Some great fights through this pack. He's a bit of a change-up. Look for an inside line there from Bontakuning trying to find a way through. Entercott runs wide. That might be enough for a change-up. Yes, it is. Bontakuning's got his second. Entercott to third. Here comes Slamet. Slamet might make him pay a little bit more here as they come through there. Look at the wide lines coming out of the wayward bike there from Trevor Westman. Trying to find a way around the outside of the old man in the mountains there, Johan LaRue. The Avidan Kawasaki is a tough man to get past in most instances, and this time he had to squeeze through and force a maneuver going into the Cheetah's corner. Into Ingwe. Could we see a change-up for second? No, not quite. Slamet had a big look but couldn't quite get on the inside there of Bontakuning. Bontakuning hangs on for second right now. And it's Entercott tucked in behind his fellow Capetonian. That's the pack coming down here and streaming down. That's Travis Nordia. There's Ian Harwood battling a little bit this weekend, as we said. Not quite finding the pace he wanted here at Kawasaki. But he's still in a bit of a fight there. Golgotchi's with him. So is Ruben Oberholzer. It looks like he's just behind Lubabalo and Sana as well. That is second place heading towards Clubhouse. Look at Graham Van Breda making hay while the sun shines. There's not a motorcycle in sight as he pitches into the right-hander at Clubhouse. Entercott dropping back down to fourth place now, losing a little bit of ground to the riders ahead of him. Slamet's got through. He's pulled about 2 or 3 bike links looking for a way through now on Bontakuning. Brian Bontakuning's had a phenomenal weekend. He won out on Friday with a double victory in his class, and he's looking for a double victory this weekend again now into the Sunday event. Round 7 of this championship, and things are starting to heat up here. We're looking at Rob Craig's point of view heading towards the S's. Is he under attack here? No, he's hanging on. Scaling is just there as well as they go into the S's. This is a superb little fight here between these guys. There's 4 motorcycles fighting to the S's and heading to the top of the hill there. Aubrey Marais, Hank Kruger, and we've got Brian Rothwell. Remember, Hank Kruger had a massive crash only a week ago at Swartkops, and that was in the brunch run. So it was a tough ask to try and get a motorcycle back together again, and he's been able to do it, and he's back up and riding and looking for a chance of a top 20 overall. Not a bad effort there, considering he's not on machinery that he'd be used to. Speaking of machinery that we're not used to, where did Westman find some pace all of a sudden? He's come out of nowhere and he's up to third. He's got through the pack, he's got past Brian Bontakuning, past Entercott, and he's up onto the tailpiece now of Ronald Slamet. I don't think Slamet and him are going to be able to catch Graham Van Breda, who's way out front. This is Landy Sinden, who's also pulling a little bit of a margin there over Aubrey Marais and Hank Scaling. And they're starting to have a bit of a fight on their own. Here we go, up the inside of Scaling. Comes a big maneuver from the 9.8, and he squeezes through there. Brilliant stuff. McLaughlin is on it. He is definitely having fun again in this category, and it is fantastic to have riders back in the class. Westman up to second. Into Barbecue and Yuxka. A change up there for second place, and Trevor Westman is now starting to open up a bit of a margin. Has he got enough time? I don't think he's got enough time to catch Van Breda. Look at the gap that Van Breda has pulled out. GVBD is absolutely hauling around here on that Stefanudi Stocks bike. This is further back there. Panaganapathy fighting hard with the Ridgeway bike of Keith Agliotti. Great fight there for 13th place on track. Lucky for some. And now just behind the back end there of Teddy Brook and Peter DeVos. All problems. Little wayward. Oh, that's Dewey Christie. The dog doctor goes down. Just sitting that motorcycle up. He got a little bit of a maneuver pulled on him on the inside, and it looks like he might have hurt himself. Yeah, the dog doctor's down there, but he is moving. That's fortunate. The red flag is out, though. It's a standard situation in motorcycle racing here in South Africa now. If there's a big crash, they always bring the red flag out just in case of emergencies. And that means that Graham Van Breda is possibly going to have taken this one. We'll wait and see if they get back to the line and are they going to restart them or not. Looks like they may have to restart this one. I don't think they completed enough laps in anger. Let's have a look at it from Stewie Christie's rear view here as he goes into the kitty litter. He puts it down, realizing he's probably going to go into the wall. Great bit of riding and, of course, a lot of experience on that rider. But he goes down. He might have hurt his ribs there by the looks of things. So Stewie Christie down and out. He actually caught himself out there. Look at that. Going onto the curbs. Yeah, he actually hopped over the curbs, trying to get on the inside line there of Savisa Temba, and just got the line wrong. The 65 Kawasaki goes down in the kitty, and that's just between Barbecue and Yuxke that he's gone down. Big pity to lose the dog doctor there, but we wish him all the best for a very speedy recovery, and we bring the bikes back online for a restart. Golgachi, last rider, coming to the line there. And final instructions being given there by Gertie and the Kyalami marshals. They've done a phenomenal job this weekend as well, and always do wherever they go racing. It's great to have them on board. But we're about to kick things off here again. Red flags will be withdrawn, and we'll go racing. Van Breda looking to try and get the same kind of start he got out of race number 1. But Westman and Slamet will definitely look to turn that luck around in terms of their starts. It didn't go according to plan on the first one. Hopefully this time it'll be a little bit better. Lights on, lights off, and we're kicking it down towards turn 1 again. Crowthorne, Van Breda off the line. Look at Bontekoning. What has he got in that motorcycle this weekend? The Jag Power Product Kawasaki is absolutely lightning quick as he heads down towards Crowthorne. As he's on the inside of Slamet and might have the line to actually go up the inside. And yes, he has. He's gone to second place. Van Breda leads out as they come out of Crowthorne. Look at Wayward. Oh, going Wayward there as well as Westman. The killer got a little bit high and a little bit wide out of that first corner at Crowthorne. And he loses out to Brian Bontekoning. Losing out to Jason Lamb as well. We haven't really spoken about Jason Lamb in this heat this time in round 7, but I can tell you something, Jason Lamb has got some work to do if he wants to try and catch and take that lead back in the championship overall from Grand Van Breda. It hasn't gone according to plan for the man from the Eastern Cape this weekend. It is Van Breda who's done it all right. He has got to the front end and is starting to pull away now from Slamet. Slamet's got Bontekoning. There's Jason Lamb diving through there for 5th place as they went into Clubhouse Corner. Apana Ganapathy slightly on the back end there, not quite where he was earlier on. He's just behind Henk Scaling as they head to the S's for the first time. We go on board with Ganapathy. Here is Apana's point of view as they flick it from left to right. And then up the hill, trying to get the squeeze on. Watch for the drive up the hill there, possibly to outbreak Henk Scaling. Yes, he's got great drive out of the top of the S's, and he'll move on to the inside line to get through there. Great line there from Westman as well, running slightly wide. Watch for the cut back there, but he might have opened up the door there for Munton. Clint Munton was looking dangerous, looking for a chance to squeeze through there, and keeping an eye there was Teddy Brook and Peter DeVos. They're just in the background watching for a way through. In fact, DeVos has fallen just slightly behind there onto McMahon's tail. So McMahon just making his way through there and slightly higher up than what he was on his first start. So slightly better starts from a couple of the riders that didn't quite get the first part of this race sorted out. One is Slamet as he closes on the back end of Van Breda. Here comes Westman on the inside of Lamb and Entercott on the inside of Johan LaRue as they go into the final corner there. Nice move as well from Teddy Brook. Teddy Brook and Wayne Shelley having a fantastic dance for 2nd place, or 3rd place at the moment actually, in the Grandmaster side of things. So a big fight on there for the Elderly Statesman's category. They really give it as hard as these guys at the front end do. Ooh, Lamb with a massive moment. Yoo-wee, that was a huge one there for Jason Lamb. And I think it was reason he got caught out by what was happening with Trevor Westman. He had to climb on the brakes a little bit harder because Westman was also out of shape. So the two of them not quite getting Crowthorne right on that time. And Entercott was waiting to pounce. He's saying, well, if you guys don't want to ride in 3rd place, I'll take it. And it looks like there's going to be a bit of a fight on there. 3rd place is, at the moment is in the hands of Brian Bontekoning. So the usual suspects for 3rd place are fighting down in 4th. And Jason Lamb has got a huge mountain to climb here, that is for sure, if he wants to try and stay in contention for this championship. Grand Van Breda, though, is doing it all right. Pulling away there and taking Ronald Slamet along for the ride. Watch out for Westman with a lap to go. He's looking to try and come through there as well. This is Ian Harwood slightly further back. Much better start there on this time out. And he's slightly higher up than what he was earlier on. So some improvements happening right through the pack. There's a great move on the inside. Oh, Westman coming out of nowhere. Finding some pace in the late part of the race and diving through there on Slamet to move up to 2nd. Perfect timing there from Trevor Westman by the looks of it. Has he got enough time to have a go at Grand Van Breda? I don't think he's close enough. Well, he's closing under braking. That new Kawasaki is superb on the brakes there, trying to get onto the back end. Ride it down. Dubabala and Son has gone down there in the closing stages, not what he wanted, and battling to get that Kawasaki picked up. Here we go to the line. Westman's going to have a go here. Westman is going to have a try and have a go here at Grand Van Breda. Stefanuti Stocks and Motul-sponsored Kawasaki versus the Wayward bike towards the line. I think Van Breda is going to have just enough. He is. He's going to hang on for a victory. That's a very important victory. And in the closing stages, what is Hein McMahon thinking? Coming under braking, trying to get up on the inside there, trying to find a way through an Entercott, and he goes down. Grand Van Breda will take the victory. He'll also take Class B ahead of Westman, who takes Class A. Slamet comes through for 3rd overall, and Bontekoning wins the Class Cs. A brilliant bit of race action there, and what a pity ride in the closing stages there for McMahon. Join us after the break for more action now from Race 2 at Kyalami. Welcome back to Kyalami International Grand Prix Circuit for Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup race action. It's race 2, round 7. And the crowds are here in full force for the Festival of Motoring, and they have loved seeing all the two-wheeled action out on circuit. They've also loved everything else that's been thrown at them here this weekend at the Festival of Motoring. How can you not like candy floss on a Sunday? Ronald Slammer's not worried about the candy floss, neither are all the other riders, as they're starting to get themselves all psyched up now for race 2 action from round 7. Stuart McLeod in the house, great to have the Mac Attack back in Kyalami and looking at what's happening around the scenes. Former ZX10 Masters Cup champion himself. Alan John Fent having a quick chat there with the tech guys. There's a concern there from his side of things. There's definitely a concern here on the dog doctor's point of view. He's not looking healthy at all, and Stewie's feeling the effects of that first crash, but I'm sure he'll be back on track. Great to see some support on the sidelines as well. And let's catch up now with one of our young lady riders and her latest edition.
What's his name?
Hunter McIan Sinden. Yeah. So.
And he's about, what, 6 months old now?
Yeah, last Thursday he just turned 6 months, so
he can probably ride next year.
yes, first bike's already there, so we're looking forward to that.
In race 1, we saw Hein McMahon go down on the final corner. Let's find out exactly what happened.
I was just too hard-headed into the last corner, and unfortunately on the last lap I just lost the front. Luckily we've got some space, so we'll get it back up and running again.
And that's exactly what they've done as he heads onto the grid now for the second heat and the final race of the weekend at the Festival of Motoring with Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup. Hein McMahon looking forward to possibly making go from 0 to hero. We're on board with Rob Craig as we're looking at the lights about to go out here for race number 2 of round 7. Alongside him is Peter de Vos. He'll be looking to try and get a little bit higher up there, the man from Cape Town. As the lights go out, we go racing. Oh, a couple of guys bogging down on the back end of the field there, not quite getting the start they wanted. Landison once again getting a superb start. And watch for her pace as they head down towards Crowthorne. She just seems to have a special way of getting through the boys. They get onto the brakes into Crowthorne corner for lap 1, turn 1. Van Bredar leads out on the number 1. So he's the man to try and catch here in this final heat of race action at the Festival of Motoring. A nice move there from Peter de Vos around the outside of McMahon. He's made up a bit of ground there. Clint Munton going to be eaten up by de Vos as well as he squeezes onto the inside of Munton. Up into Yixka and he forces him wide. Brilliant stuff there from de Vos. He is not holding back here. Up in about 7th place overall. A fantastic start there from him. As they head through Sunset, heading towards Clubhouse now. Look at Wayne Shirley. Also good start there from Wayne Shirley. Much better start there from him. Just the pack start to stream through there and sort things out in the background. Watching for some maneuvers coming through there. Safiso Temba starting to make his way onto the back end of a Panaganapathi. He's looking for a chance now to possibly make his way into that top 20. That's where he'd like to be, no doubt about it. He's going to have to try and find a way through there on Kruger, on Rothko, possibly on Langeveld as well. There's some superb little fights that are going to rage all the way through this pack. Up towards Leeuwkop, and good to see that Safiso got that fuel pump issue sorted out. Hopefully he's going to not plague him here in the second and final heat of this weekend. As they come through Leeuwkop, we're on board once again with McMahon as they go down, and this is everything she's got towards the sweep at the bottom end of the mine shaft. So you can just roll off ever so slightly. It's not everything and not full tilt through there. These Bridgestones are not quite up to temperature just yet. Look at the pressure being applied here onto the back end of Van Bredar from Westman. The killer is meaning business here. He wants at least one victory here this weekend. Has he gone around the outside? I think he might have. No, he just tucks in behind. There's a different line there from Trevor Westman, trying something completely unique through Crocodile. Might have paid off. It was definitely a good strategy. Didn't quite work this time, but now he's under braking into the final corner, and that's how you do it. Brilliant stuff. Into Ingwe, and we got a new leader. First time that we've had somebody at the front of the race other than Van Bredar today. So Trevor Westman means business in this one, and he's not going to hold back here at all. Look at him trying to pull away now, and Van Bredar staying with him. Van Bredar comes up his inside. Oh, they are side by side going towards Crowthorne. Slammet watching in the background, watching for opportunities here to possibly spoil the day for both of them. Van Bredar is good on the brakes. Here comes Jason Lamb, also starting to close onto the back end of Slammet. So Jason Lamb needs to try and get up into that top 3 if he wants to stay in the hunt for the championship. We've only got one more round of this championship after this, so it's going to be exceptionally close. And there is still some fighting to be had on the black stuff of this country to sort out who is going to be 2022's ZX10R Masters Cup champion. Into Sunset. There was a big look there from Westman. Westman going to try and come up towards Clubhouse. He's got good drive out of Sunset. Is he good enough on the brakes? Yes, he is. Set that up perfectly. Into Clubhouse corner. Yet again, takes the lead. Now heading to the S's. Van Bredar's on his tail on the Stefanuti Stocks and Motul Kawasaki. The Wayward bike leads out. Valley Mart is in third there with Slammet on board. Further back, the Buco bike from East London. That is Travis Nordia. As I said, not quite on pace this weekend, but certainly looking for a chance to end up in that top 20 at least. Remember, he's a double race winner from last season, so he'll be looking to try and turn his luck around there, that is for sure. It hasn't quite gone according to plan here this time out for Nordia, but he's certainly a man to watch out for in this championship. And watching out for guys in that mid-pack as well. This is a superb little fight that's happening out there. You can see Hank Kruger on a new motorcycle fighting there with Temba. And this looks like that Temba's got that bike sorted. Landy Sinnan's point of view as the lady rider heads down the mine shaft into the sweep. Looking for a chance to close things down there on her fellow riders. Look at the way that Westman's pulling out though. She's closing things down. Westman is closing things away from everybody else. He's disappearing at the front end. No one seems to have an answer there to Trevor Westman's pace now that he's hit the front. He's got some clean air and he's looking to get away from Van Breda. Van Breda will realise that Westman's not really in the hunt for the championship, so he won't be too concerned about Westman right now. He'll be more concerned about keeping both Jason Lamb and Ronald Slamet behind him. That's more important right now. Consistency always wins championships, and Graham Van Breda knows how to do that. Although if he does fall into the clutches again, he'll have a go at Westman. Then you've got Lamb, Bontekoning, Entercott and Shelley. What a ride there from Wayne Shelley. Pulled a huge margin now over Teddy Brooks, so it looks like second place in that Grandmaster side of things in Class C is in the bag there for Wayne Shelley. And you got DeVos fighting with Munton, fighting with Johan LaRue as they head up towards Sunset Corner. It's not quite sunset here, but it is late afternoon, so they're certainly starting to feel maybe the effects of the track being a little bit cooler than this morning as well. That might also come into play. There's a move from Apana Ganapathy. Great dive on the inside there, finding a way past and gets up ahead of Langeveld. Jason Langeveld trying to come back at Apana as they go up towards Leerkop. So it's Wayward Kawasaki with Westman on board, ahead of the Stefanuti Stocks and Motel Kawasaki there of Graham Van Breda. Value Mart bike there in third place has got Ronald Slamet on board. This is the Ridgeway bike. What a great dice there. Hagliotti, Teddy Brook, and chuck in Johan LaRue as well. They're all in the little mix there, looking for opportunities. Jason Lamb is closing on the back end. Lamb, one of the quickest laps we've seen so far from him this weekend, as he starts to close on the back end of Slamet, and he's bringing Bontekoning along for the ride. We might even have a 5-way battle here for the lead if they can just close that gap and concertina it up ever so slightly. But that's not what Westman is doing. Westman is just checking out and disappearing at the front end. Doesn't look like Van Breda's got an answer to him. That new Kawasaki is certainly working well. Then you've got Slamet trying to hang on for third place. Important for him to do that. Jason Lamb's got to try and get ahead of him though. This is Landy Sinden fighting it out in the mid-pack as well there with Lubabalo and Sana. Great to have him back up and riding after that crash in race 1. Looks like they've got that bike sorted out. No issues for him. And just behind that, I think it was McLaughlin and Oberholzer. So some fights all the way through, even into the top 25. Down to 30th place, they're still fighting hard here. That's what ZX10s is all about. But no one seems to have an answer to these two. Equidistant apart now for the top 3. Lamb has certainly closed the gap down a little bit more on the back end of Slamet, but not enough to get through on him. And Wayne Shelley hangs on for a top 7 at this stage. This is Henk Scaling. Scaling in a little bit of a fight of his own there as well. As he comes up on board, we go on board with him through the flick and up towards the entrance to the pit lane where our ZX10s are parked for this weekend. And he's putting on the pressure here, and the pressure is mounting big time. Looking for a way through. Can he find it? Oh, there's a big squirt on there. He just didn't able to get through there, and I think it was just able to be hung on there by Hank Kruger. Oh, Westman has opened up a huge margin now. I think Van Breda is consolidating here. We're heading towards the checkered flag, so he realizes that second place will be enough, considering the fact that Slamet and Lamb are behind him. That's the only two he really has to worry about. Although Westman has got an outside chance, but he hasn't had quite the season he needed in terms of consistency in those top 3. Great to have Peter DeVos in the mix, as always, and he's fighting hard there with Munton. And it looks like Teddy Brooks in the mix there as well. Here comes Byron Rothkall, the Mad Magic Bike, is doing a superb job there. Rothkall looking for a chance to end in the top 20. He's just inside that top 20 as well. And if he hangs on, that's where he's going to do. So here comes the man who could be king here. The Killer Westman looking to make it the king of Kyalami for the second time today. He won't be king overall. That's going to go to Van Breda. He's had a superb weekend in both rounds 6 and 7 here at the Festival of Motoring. And great to have an opportunity to race on the circuit for the ZX10R Masters Cup. Sunbed are happy, Red Square Reload are happy, Bridgestone are happy, NGK must be ecstatic. And what an effort there from the Kawasaki boys as well. And all of these boys and girls putting on a show of note. Munton coming to the line. Is he going to hang on ahead of DeVos? Looks like he might. It's going to be a good run here to the line there between the two of them. But let's have a look at the results there. Westman taking Class A ahead of Slamet. And Dave Entercott down in 6. B's goes to Graham Van Breda ahead of Jason Lamb. A great effort there from Brian Bontekoning to win the C's out yet again. Superb effort there on that brand new Kawasaki from the Killer Westman from Cape Town. He'll be happy with the victory here at Kyalami. See him waving to the crowd there. Lots of support on the sideline there for Trevor the Killer Westman. And I'm sure Graham Van Breda was up for the challenge. He certainly got beaten fairly and squarely here in the second heat, but half fives there. Let's catch up now with our race 2 winner.
So yeah, I didn't use the launch control. I just used the normal old school manual method. And yeah, I had a really good race. Sat behind Graham for a bit and made my move. and I used the new Kawasaki to its best. The bike is totally awesome, and looking at my lap board going +1, it was just an awesome experience. And thank you to Team Wayward, to Project 60 SA. I'm very happy.
Brian Bontegun had a phenomenal weekend and had a fantastic dive with Jason Lamb and Ronald Slammett, eventually finishing up at the top end of Class C.
Got the grips with the track and got grips with my bike and forgot about my age and had a good time, I must say. It was awesome. It was really a very well organized weekend, and I think long, but everyone had a good time, I think.
We had a phenomenal time. You can see by the happy smiles up there on Class A's podium. Trevor Westman taking the victory. We'll be happy with that one, there's no doubt about it. And I think a victory at Kyalami, anybody would be happy with. Panaganapathy getting himself up onto the podium as well there for Class B. Class C goes to Brian Bontegun ahead of Wayne Shelley and Clint Mutton. A great fight between those three. Thanks, Wayne. Yeah, great direction there from Wayne Shelley. Good direction heading into the final round at Swartkops as well, with Van Breda leading this championship over Westman, who's moved himself up in a second, over Ronald Slammett and Jason Lamb, as we head to Swartkops for the final on the 15th of October. All the ZX10 Masters Cup action is proudly brought to you by Sunbet, Red Square, NGK Spark Plugs, Bridgestone Tyres, and Kawasaki Motorcycles.